Okay, so I've always wanted to do this, and I really admire everyone who's gone before me, not just today, but just during this whole 2-year experience. I think I know most people kind of see me and kind of know, oh, that's Natalie, or that's Hoops from Brooklyn, whatever. But hopefully in the next 10 minutes, I think, I wanted to be able to share something that you can take away a little bit more of that about me, and hopefully notice a little bit more than just the surface. And so for the handful of people who've been able to sort of make the trek out to my apartment out in Austin, you may notice that I have a plaque that says faith, family, friends. And so those are kind of the 3 areas of my life that I kind of want to share with you all and help. I'm going to share some kind of just little snippets of stories and kind of those themes in that segment that I think will just kind of show a little bit more depth and a little bit more insight about me. And so for the faith part, I grew up as an Episcopalian. I am pretty religious. I serve on the altar. I still do that every time I go home. This is how my mom raised us, me, my mom, my sister, for the most part. But like all of you, I think I'm smart, I don't know. And so I tend to rationalize things, of course. And I think, there are some times where, you kind of wonder or question, and then there are other times where I think kind of faith kind of steps in and kind of really gives that reassuring air. And so an example of this, I would say, was one time I was driving late. I was road tripping. I graduated from college. I was like 25 or something like that, and I had some friends in the car. We did like a 4-hour drive back to New York. I dropped them off. I was about 7 minutes from home, and I fell asleep at the wheel. I was just completely tired. I had the Jay-Z bumping, wasn't really working. Windows were down. It was November. You would think the brisket, no, just was not working. And I'm like knocked out, right? Kind of wake up, get my bearings. I'm like, where am I? What's going on? Like the car is like half on the sidewalk, half on the street. And I wake up just in time to swerve a tree. And so there are moments like that where I'm just like, everything just can't really be by chance. I think there is some sort of divine intervention that I think has really kind of guided my life and helped me get to where I am today. And I finally told that story to my mom because I didn't want her to freak out. So I think I told her last week. Like, 6 years ago? Which brings me to the family part. And so, my mom, she was pretty strict growing up. I think, she came here as an immigrant and really tried to live that American dream for my sister and me. And so growing up, everything was kind of make sure you do your schoolwork, tried to get us involved in activities. So I did a lot of other things. I played the piano starting at 6. I did that for about 10 years. I played basketball, some of you know. So I was always active. I was into a lot of stuff. I was a tomboy. I wore my Jordans, wore jeans. That was just kind of how I really grew up, sort of, elementary and like middle school. So mom was, pretty strict, but she wanted to make sure that she did the best for us. And so there were a lot of things that I was just scared to do because I was scared of her. I wasn't scared of the actual action, right? I was just like, mom's gonna kill me, so I'm not gonna do that. But as much as I knew that she might kill me for certain things, it was reassuring to know that she would also kill for me. And I remember it was a time when I was 6 turning 7, it was first grade. And I had gone to a local, it was a Lutheran school. I only went there for 1 year for first grade. And it was literally around the corner. Now, you guys know I'm from Brooklyn. I'm also from Brownsville, Brooklyn. So if any of you have seen Mike Tyson's Undisputed Truth, grew up 2 blocks from him, literally. So it's back in the 80s, dating myself. But it was, it wasn't necessarily the safest place. And so even though we were around the corner, she would pick me up from school. I couldn't walk home by myself. Even though I wanted to, I thought I was grown. Just no, don't do that. And so one day, she came to pick me up from school. My classroom was in the front of the school, and she came from the back entrance. And I see her come from the back, and I'm like, Mom, I'm so happy. And, It's predominantly black school. We only had one white kid who was the son of the priest there, so everyone knew who he was. And he's like, I don't know what he was doing. He was like eating a chocolate bar or something like annoying. And I'm ready to run to Mom, right? I see her in the back, and I'm like, Mom! And he sticks his foot out and he trips me. And I'm in a uniform, so my skirt probably like flew all over the place. And I'm just like really mad. And Mom was like real cool. It's like a horror movie, you know, like they don't run, it's like Jason, they just like walk. She just like walks from the back, and all of a sudden she's like appears, and she didn't care that this kid was like, you know, the son of like, you know, the priest of the school. She just goes and she just grabs his nose, right? She's like turns it upside down. She's like, don't you ever touch my daughter again. He's like, yeah. I mean, his whole face turned like beet red, you know. And so for that moment, I mean, growing up, you know, I was kind of afraid, but I knew that she always had my back. And my sister was the same way. Even as an adult, I would say, you know, those are sort of the values that she really, you know, instilled in us growing up. I tried to be a little bit more independent growing up. I don't know why I did that. I really should just ride their coattails because they're so awesome. Especially my sister. We're 4 years apart. She's a big bad corporate attorney. Just the best big sister you could ever ask for, could ever want. Even now, I mean, I remember when I bought my car, I thought, I was like, you know, I can do this without you. You know, I bought it, I didn't tell anyone, because I was actually just kind of like really angry at people at that time. I was still living at home, and I was like sharing my parents' car because they didn't really go anywhere, and I don't know, it just blew up one day. I was like, I'm sick of this. I turned 25, I was like, I'm buying my car, forget you guys. So I go down, I go to the dealership, friend takes me, I come back, I was like, yeah, got a car, boom. And my sister's like, oh, what was the first offer? First offer? She's like, wait, you didn't negotiate? It's like, I was supposed to negotiate. Hops in like her Mercedes-Benz truck, again, more Jay-Z. We're like flying down the highway, we fly to Bay Ridge Honda, take up 2 parking spots. It's like really annoying. She comes out like her big Louis bag, and it's just like, and she gets the guy to negotiate the price after he's already signed it. Like, I was like, how did you do that? You don't even know as much about cars as I do. She's like, I don't care. Like, I know how to negotiate. Then I was like, okay, I'm never gonna like get played again. But still, it's just like, we've always had that mentality of like making sure that, you know, you look after one another. Which kind of brings me, I guess, to the friendship part of what I want to share. And I think really growing up in that kind of environment kind of made me more of an introvert, I think, because I had really strong women in my life. Not to say that I'm shy. I think if any of you, you know, have classes with me or anything, probably don't shut up enough. So that's not it, but I think, you know, just kind of, that's just where I get my energy. I'm always have my headphones on. Like I said, I played music forever, I sang. So that's kind of how I harness myself. But it's also given me an opportunity to kind of take a step back and kind of really observe and really be able to just put myself in many situations. I'm really not a cliquey person. I like to just kind of sit with different people. So you'll see me in E62 where I'm probably sitting with a different person 2-3 times a week. You know, I really try to use that experience to really get to know as many people as I can and as deeply as I can. And my friends, you know, the same way my family kind of fought for me is the same way that I try to fight for my friends. So they know, you know, if they're driving and they're tired at 3 a.m., they can call me and I'll stay up with them because I want to make sure they're safe, which has happened. So I think, you know, as we prepare to move on and we prepare to graduate, you know, I definitely want to challenge everybody to kind of step back, you know, and not necessarily be in that comfort zone, but just even in these last 2 weeks or as we relocate places, to just sit down with someone that you may not have talked with or you don't really know very well, and just kind of hear them and really, you know, use this opportunity for as much as we can. Even as we move on, you know, we only have such short time, but really take that time to really develop those relationships, as George has said. it's definitely something that I don't take for granted. The relationship that I've made here with many of you, I will definitely keep near and dear to my heart. So that's about it. Thanks for listening.